Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. The book begins with a compelling analogy of a gazelle being chased by a lion in the African savannah. The gazelle, sensing imminent danger, tries to escape but eventually gets caught. At this moment, it goes into a freeze state, a survival mechanism that is deeply ingrained in its nervous system. This freeze state is not just a phenomenon observed in animals, it's a crucial part of the human stress response as well. The authors delve into the neuroscience behind this, explaining how the brain automatically chooses this response when faced with extreme stress. The freeze response is a last-ditch effort by the brain to keep the individual alive in a situation that seems unsurvivable. The authors emphasize that understanding this freeze response is essential for understanding stress and how our brains work to keep us alive. They argue that if you don't know that freeze exists, you may question your past actions during stressful situations, not realizing that your brain was doing its best to keep you alive. The book delves into the complex emotional landscape that humans navigate daily. It discusses how societal norms, particularly those that are deeply ingrained, affect our emotional reactions to ourselves and others. The authors explore the automatic thoughts and judgments we have when we interact with people in various social settings, such as public transportation, work meetings, and parties. They point out that these judgments are often reflexive and influenced by societal expectations and norms. The book encourages readers to be aware of these automatic thoughts and judgments, and to approach them with kindness and understanding. The authors argue that change happens gradually, and that being aware of these thoughts is the first step toward a more compassionate interaction with oneself and others. In this section, the book takes a deeper dive into identifying the real enemy that contributes to stress and societal pressures. Drawing inspiration from the dystopian world of The Hunger Games, the authors argue that the real enemy is not individual people, but rather the overarching societal structures that perpetuate inequality, stress, and emotional turmoil. They specifically point to the patriarchy as a system that has rigged the game against women and marginalized communities. The authors emphasize that understanding these oppressive structures is essential for meaningful change. They argue that most self-help books for women often leave out this crucial chapter, focusing only on things readers can control. However, they insist that understanding how the game is rigged is vital for anyone looking to genuinely improve their lives and the society they live in. The book shifts its focus to discuss the critical importance of rest in human life. It argues that humans are not built to persist incessantly, but are designed to oscillate between periods of effort and rest. The authors delve into the science behind this, stating that on average, humans need to spend 42% of their time, about 10 hours a day, on rest. They emphasize that taking time for rest is not just about survival, but is an act of resistance against societal forces that try to make individuals feel helpless and overwhelmed. The authors condemn the notion that taking time to rest is self-indulgent, arguing that it's as essential as breathing. The book delves into the concept of the game being rigged, particularly against women and girls, especially those of color. It introduces the term human giver syndrome, which is the belief that some people have a moral obligation to give every drop of their humanity in support of others, regardless of the cost to themselves. This syndrome thrives in patriarchal societies and is a significant contributor to stress and burnout. The authors argue that acknowledging this rigged system is the first step toward dismantling it and reclaiming one's life. The book emphasizes the importance of being compassionate toward oneself. It argues that being cruel to oneself only increases the cruelty in the world. The authors advocate for self-compassion as the single most important thing one can do to make the world a better place. They argue that our wellness is tied to the wellness of others, and collective freedom can only be achieved when individuals are free from self-imposed emotional burdens. In the concluding section, the authors reiterate the importance of collective wellness. They argue that until individuals are free from societal and self-imposed burdens, society as a whole cannot be fully free. The book ends on a hopeful note, encouraging readers to collaborate in creating freedom and wellness for everyone.